You're listening to the Reinvest Podcast, where each Tuesday we show business owners and entrepreneurs how to diversify into real estate by equipping you with the tools and tactics to build generational wealth. Your hosts, Garrett Gatton and Seth Ciminillo. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Reinvest Podcast, episode 155.
I was going to try to steal your intro. I was too slow.
Yeah, you weren't quick enough.
Wasn't quite fast enough this time. Maybe next week.
Got a good episode here today with Justin Spiller. Justin, we're going to get into your story here very shortly. But Seth, what are you seeing in the market side of things, commercially, investment related?
Well, now that we're through this brutal winter, anyone that doesn't get winter, like people that are in the South, I mean, I guess even Texas got a little winter this year in Florida. They got cold. But anybody that doesn't get a winter, you don't quite understand, but man, it really affects the cycles here. But we're seeing a lot of buyers come out of the woodwork, a lot of people starting to really get active again. Now that we're through the thick of it, it seems like people prepping for spring, people prepping for that life change. So starting to see a lot more activity across the board, commercial, residential. So it's kind of got me excited. I always feel energetic when there's opportunity out there. So it's kind of like, oh, wow, it's fun. Everybody's moving again.
It feels like people are starting to do deals again.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Yeah.
But well, somebody that could speak to that today is Justin Spillers. Justin, you're kind of we're in your backyard or you're in our backyard. I don't know which, but you're from Ohio. You're an Ohio guy. Says you're a double Buckeye. What does that mean?
Yeah, I went to Ohio State for undergrad and law school. So
nice.
Got 2 degrees. I just thought if I kept going to grad school, I'd get better football seats.
What, did that work out or no?
That peaks at 4. You can't get any better seats than 4 after undergrad. So I thought I'd like sideline passes by year 7. But no, I maxed out.
I will say we have a client of ours that does some construction related work for Ryan Day. And was it 2 years ago maybe? Ohio State was playing for the national championship. And he was like, hey, I depending on how this game goes, I might be doing a job for him. So,
which 2 years ago was good. So
yeah, that's right.
But actually, sorry, while we're on the Buckeyes, I met the previous Brutus mascot.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. So he's actually working at a local factory here in Lima, Ohio, believe it or not.
I'm sorry.
And so, but he has a great job. So,
yeah.
But I just thought it was funny. That was like, I was like, oh, wow, he's just a regular person. So
yeah. He's Brutus. That's amazing. Justin, you have a degree as a corporate attorney. So did you got your law degree? Give us a little background kind of through your professional career and then right when you transitioned into real estate.
Yeah, so went to undergrad at Ohio State. Always knew I wanted to go to law school, pre-law. My father-in-law owned a really large business. He said, I told him I wanted to get in business on my own. He said, go to law school. It's the one thing you can't learn on your own on the streets. So he wished he would have went. So I took that advice, stacked up, got a finance marketing degree, pre-law and undergrad, went to law school, focused on corporate real estate law, practiced for about 7 years, large firm downtown Columbus, Ohio, then a local firm here in Sydney, Ohio, doing the gamut of small business, entity formation, helping companies grow all the way to when I was in Columbus, working for Fortune 50 companies, doing M&A work, securities offerings. So kind of got to see it all. And then in 2016, was able to go full-time in entrepreneurship, started investing at that time with my business partner, Brandon. We bought our first property then, and we've grown it to a little over 700 units now.
Man, so what was the law firm in Columbus that you joined and did mergers and acquisitions for?
It's called Bailey Cavalieri. They're downtown. That was like the epitome of experience. They're in the U.S. Bank high rise. I had a corner office, all glass windows overlooking north so I could see the Ohio State football field. Walking in wearing a suit and tie and a briefcase every day. That was super cool experience. And then working with the best of the best corporate clients, just super high expectations, working nonstop. It's the billable hour. You got to track your time every 6 minutes. I'm working 60, 70 hours a week, get to the office, it's dark, leave, it's dark. So good time to grind when I was young, pre-kids, but got that out of my system, paid off all my student loans, got debt-free was kind of the goal, kind of figured out which businesses I wanted to start. I had a couple of side businesses during that time, but 2016 was able to take the plunge and go into business full-time for myself.
So what were some of those other businesses that you had started to explore with before maybe you jumped in full time? I mean, what kind of stuff were you into? Was it only real estate stuff, or was it just you were kind of everywhere?
Uber driving.
Yeah, I was everywhere. Now, even outer than that, the first business in undergrad, me and my friend had the idea of putting a green screen into a photo booth. And so we created the first ever green screen photo booth in Columbus, and we grew it to 5 booths. We had 12 college kids running them. We were doing events all across Central Ohio. And then we added on photography, DJing, everything, and kind of one-stop shop events company. So that was the first foray in business. Did that in undergrad and in part law school, sold that company. And that was kind of the start of the entrepreneurial venture.
So like, did you sell it for
a profit?
A profit? I mean, like,
yeah, so we did pretty good. Probably could have sold it for more if I knew how the fun Hermosi structure of actually creating value and not having that key man risk in it, which we were kind of done with it. We were ready to move on to the next thing. But yeah, we did 100,000 in revenue with just photo booths in the first year, which was pretty miraculous. Storing them in a storage container, 2 of them in a horrific part of Columbus, having college kids go there with our key lock, get the stuff, trust them to bring it back. It was just like everything you can imagine going wrong in the first business, you learn real fast.
Funny that you were an attorney at this time, and
no, this is pre-attorney.
Okay, so now
this is undergrad,
consciously aware of the liability after.
Yeah, this is before I really knew what I was doing.
That's pretty cool. I can only imagine some of the things that would happen in a photo booth. I'm sure you've got some stories off camera. We'll talk about that later, but very cool. So, but I want to drill down on the advice that your father-in-law gave you. Did that prove to be true?
100%. Going to law school, I probably stayed practicing an attorney maybe a couple years too long, but the experience I got was invaluable. Knowing the outer perimeters and boundaries of the legal side of everything, you can just make calculated decisions better than anybody else, from the sense of, I know what my worst case scenario is. I know what the risks are. I can read any contract. I can read any agreement. We used to do all of our own title work. I do obviously all of our own PSAs. We've gotten really creative in our purchase agreements, that we're doing some things I've not heard anybody else do. So that aspect has just been super advantageous.
Like some sub 2 stuff? I was kidding.
Yeah, we used to do all kinds of creative financing back in the day. It helped then too, yes, but not from the sense of that so much. But yeah, just knowing the legal aspect of all parts of your business is super helpful.
What are your thoughts on AI and attorney work?
It's going to decimate them. They're going to get absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, associate attorneys are only needed because the partners don't want to do the grunt research work, and AI does it now instantly. So it's going to be super interesting. I'm actually unbelievably fortunate because the prompting needed and knowing when AI is hallucinating, like, it just makes up case law, and it still does. Like, it just makes up case law that's not true.
Whoa.
But the principles that it gives you is spot on. So if I'd say, hey, write this demand letter, I literally just did this. We just did a big patio addition. I got a dented stainless steel door for our built-in grill, and I wanted to return it. And the return policy was literally the stupidest thing ever. It was like, you couldn't have opened the box. You had to warn us in the first 5 days, like all this stuff. And I just said, AI, I'm an attorney, give me a hammer demand letter. And it gave me this, like, hey, you breached Consumer Practices Act. You did this. I'm coming after you for treble damages, a class action lawsuit stuff. Just instantly did it. I copy pasted, sent it to him. Instantly, like, we'll refund you. Throw the thing away. You don't have to return.
Oh, wow.
So like, that is super good, because like, I just pasted it. I took a little out where I knew, like, that's pretty stupid. Like, no one would say that.
Yeah.
But 98% was spot on. So that stuff is so good. And even now, I use it probably 1 to 2 hours a day. Both as the operator, but even on the attorney side, I mean, I run every agreement through it first. Like, hey, what's my 3 blind spots? What am I missing? What could go wrong? Where should I add it? It's so good, especially with our leases. I've gone through every provision in our lease and just said, hey, how do I make this better? And it knows the context update of who I am, and it just gives me the best language possible based upon Ohio case law.
Now, are you paying for like the closed loop chat GPT, or is this Copilot? What's your AI tool you're using to do this?
Yeah, so I've used a lot. Grok is my favorite by far, the one that's X. So Elon Musk is, in my opinion, the best because it can pull real-time information from the web. and it uses all the X data. So I use Grok. I think the paid account's like $20 a month or something cheap, but that's my AI of choice.
Interesting.
Fascinating. Yeah, I just had to ask about that because that's been kind of a a hot topic in terms of how that was going to disrupt the legal industry. And I mean, essentially, with so many, and we're not here to talk about AI, but I think it's worth noting on it's a job consolidation versus like a total replacement of jobs, I think. And so it's people that know how to use AI that are going to stay in some of these positions because it's going to consolidate the work it took 3 people to do. It's not going to take one. And I think attorneys are kind of subject for that.
So let's go back. You started some businesses. In 2016, you said, hey, I'm going to make the plunge and work for myself. And so you exited attorney work at that point?
Right. Yep.
Okay. And then when did you know it was going to be real estate, or what led you to real estate?
Yeah, I definitely did not think it'd be real estate going in. Again, same father-in-law kind of said, hey, get in a business that's recession proof and you have recurring revenue. And so I was thinking more like bread and eggs and like the food everyone buys, good times and bad. You got customers always buying it. So explored some manufacturing worlds, that area. And then real estate kind of came out of nowhere. I read like everybody else, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, kind of got down that rabbit hole, bigger pockets, etc. Really liked the concept of it. I had a lot of clients that were operators and they would dump their money into real estate like everyone does now. And I would always ask them, like, why are you doing that? What's the benefit? And they would tell me all the tax benefits. And I kind of pieced it all together. And I started looking at buying my first single family home as a rental property. And that's why I ran into my business partner, Brandon. But we bought our first one, started growing it. And eventually that became the best opportunity vehicle and the whale that kind of swallowed the rest. Seeing that we could make the most money there and had the best kind of runway, if you will, for a career. But it checked both those boxes, right? Our residents are a reoccurring revenue stream. They always pay us. We don't have to go out and hunt for new ones that often. And then in good times and in bad, people need a place to live. They pay their rent first. So it indirectly checked the boxes I was chasing from an early age, but I did not know it was going to be real estate. No one in my family does real estate. I didn't know anybody that did real estate. Other than some of the clients I had being an attorney.
Yeah. So what year was that you started buying, or maybe when you bought your first property?
2015, we started looking, and in 2016, I bought my first property.
Nice.
Yeah. What was were you intimidated by that from a real estate perspective?
Well, again, the legal side, like I knew how to do it because I had done it for
Right.
my clients, but I had never done it. But yeah, I mean, we probably walked 50 properties before we bought our first one.
Oh, wow.
Single family homes, duplexes, larger ones. Ironically, our first buy was a 7 unit in Piqua, Ohio. I'll never forget. We bought it for 110 grand.
Wow.
Like a little over 15K a door. And we were just idiots, right? Like lead-based paint, asbestos, it had a boiler, like just like stuff like you just have no clue. Like it looked really nice. It was kind of cool. It had a good cash flow. We're doing like the 1% rule and like all the fun stuff with the bigger pockets and bought it. And like 7 days later, got a notice from the city like, here are the 27 ordinances you're violating the exterior property. It's like everything. But anyway, it was great. Like it was a great first experience. It ended up being an amazing property. We sold it for like $400,000, like 6, 7 years later.
Yeah.
So it was a great investment. Cash flowed well. Was much bigger than I probably wanted to buy. We were really looking at like a single or double, but we're like, man, we can get 7 units for 100 grand. Like this pencils out really well.
Right.
So that was our first purchase.
So, okay. So you bought a 7 unit and you kind of learn that you're buying someone else's, this bag of unknown, right? You get the letter from the city. You bought some singles, some doubles. When did you start throwing in some scale? Because now you guys are at 700 plus units. That's a big jump in about 10 years.
Yep. So we scaled pretty quick. We got to 100 units probably in the first maybe 3 years. But we were just buying everything, doing creative financing, trying to do that low, no money down, land contract, hustling as much as we could. But we bought a bunch of duplexes, 4 units, 8 units. Then we bought a big 48 unit in Vandalia, and that catapulted us to above 100 units. And we really knocked that one out of the park. The value add was quick. We did really good. We sold it fast, made a good amount of money and reinvested that. And we kind of hovered around like 200 to 300 units for a while. My business partner, Brandon, had a construction and a roofing company separately he was running. And I also had some contract manufacturing companies I was involved in. Then kind of looking at the whole opportunity board, real estate, multifamily value add in particular was by far the best thing we had done. Decided to sell everything else. We went all in. And when we both went all in about 3 years ago, that's when we really started to grow. We went from 300 units to 700 in 3 years.
Talk about the growing pains of scaling that fast. What were kind of the proverbial glass ceilings that you guys had to bust through?
Yeah, so we had no money, zero resources. So that just doing everything ourselves. Brandon and I know how to do every single facet of our business as good as any of our team members, literally from every aspect, from acquisition, property management, leasing, maintenance, construction. We do it all in-house now, and we are the guys that know how to do it. We train our team members. So learning it the hard way. So in hindsight, super glad we had no resources and had to do that because I literally learned leasing one person at a time, one showing at a time. Brandon learned maintenance by fixing one problem at a time. We learned value add by turning one unit at a time. So doing it all ourselves was definitely the hard part because it just took so long and it was our time and sweat equity. But in hindsight, that value and knowledge we learned is our secret sauce now. So it was a necessary evil that I didn't know at the time was going to pay dividends. Fast forward 7, 8 years.
So real quick before you go to maybe the next evolution of that kind of flies in the face of the who, not how, because you're saying, I'm glad that I had my hands on it. I'm glad that I was at the grunt level, kind of going through. So how do you kind of reconcile those two things? I mean, some people are like, I just want to find the right people and put them in the right place. But at some degree, you have to have an understanding of what you're delegating.
Yeah, I mean, biggest thing, we just had no money, right? Like we didn't have any money to
you
hire,
couldn't hire
to hire the who, right?
You were
So
the who, yeah.
So it was figuring out the how on our own. That was the big thing.
Yeah.
But now we're very much in a different spot where it is, right? It's getting the right people in the bus, not being this. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room anymore, right? I need to attract talent, have people who are smarter than me, do things and train them up, have the systems in place. So we definitely have evolved. But back then, we had to learn it. I'm a huge believer in getting that foundational knowledge in all aspects of it. Like Brandon, he's the engineer. He runs the construction maintenance company. He knows he can walk in any property, do a CapEx budget plus or minus on a whim. Like he's just a monster. I'm okay at it. I will never be at that level, but he knows that. Same on like the acquisition side, the capital raising side now, the leasing side, obviously the legal side, the parts I manage. He knows a ton to be dangerous too, but that's not his wheelhouse anymore. So,
Right.
But we wanted to know enough to give an opinion, right? Like I want to be able to push back on some of his thoughts and be a sounding board. And we do a lot of debates together to get that unique solution that we have a lot of first principle thinking involved in our business. That's very different. And if you don't know how to do it yourself, you can never think of those creative ideas.
That's true.
Where we're at now, we have a lot of unique thoughts because we know how to do it.
How did you find your business partner?
Yeah, super crazy story. So he's from Lehman, like 15 minutes up the road from me. But we are on a call just like this, a Zoom call in 2015 with 4 guys in California. I was friends with one of them, helping him grow his education business. Brandon was friends with a different guy, helping him grow his education business. And we're there, and I'm wearing a Minster football sweatshirt. And he's like, "Is that Minster, Ohio?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm from Piqua." I was like, "No way." I was like, "We should meet up." And
That's
we met
crazy.
afterwards. We're on a mastermind with 4 guys from LA, and we're both sitting 20 minutes apart.
Wow.
And that's how we met. And we met at a bar. He was already in real estate. He bought his first single family home. I told him I was looking. We started looking together, bought our first property together, and we've been business partners ever since.
Dude, that's
Wow. Kind of wild that relationship kind of went the distance and has evolved into where you're at today with all these units and multifamily. Pretty wild.
It is wild.
So what did he do? I mean, we don't have to dig into his story too much, but what did he do prior to that? Was it in construction? Did he have a background in construction?
He went to University of Dayton. He was an aerospace engineer, so he had a lot of really good engineering experience at a couple of companies, working a corporate job.
Yeah.
And he was helping a couple entrepreneurs with their digital businesses, kind of like I was. So he had some tech experience too, like paid ads, coaching, training, and then started buying real estate. And that's when we went in together. And he also, gosh, that sounds like so many things. He partnered with another guy who had a construction and roofing company and helped him grow those businesses and learn construction roofing intimately, and then exited back out of those to invest full time with me once our opportunity kind of eclipsed the rest.
How old were you? How old were you guys kind of when this partnership started?
Yeah, 30, 29, 30.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what's next? I mean, I guess we haven't even gotten in this, but tell us kind of your real estate company today, name of it, your portfolio. What's next for you guys?
Yeah, so the parent holding company calls Real Estate Alpha. It kind of owns all the other companies beneath it. We do everything in-house, like I said. We have a team of about 50. We have about 720 units. We're very aggressive in growth trajectory. We want to buy at least 500 more units this year, and then we want to buy 1,000 every year till we hit 10,000. That's kind of the sand in the line goal. Not that we're going to stop, but that's kind of what we're striving towards. Speed is everything. Everything we do is how do we do it cheaper, quicker, better, faster, especially on the value add side. So it's just constantly iterating our business plan and making it better. We have pretty good infrastructure in place, good team in place, kind of built the foundational components so we could scale quickly and everything wouldn't break. So we're in a really good spot now. So now it's just ambitious growth.
Yeah, 10,000.
Are you guys? Yeah, and where are you guys buying? Are you buying all over the place or just Midwest?
Just Ohio primarily. So
Okay.
we broke it into 6 regions. Surrounding Dayton is kind of our primary target, close to home. Region 2 is the Toledo area. Region 3 is Cincinnati, Columbus. Region 4 is Eastern Indiana. Region 5, Southern Michigan. Region 6 is all of Eastern Ohio. So we underwrite those 6 regions. There's about 23,000 multifamily properties in that region. Of that, about 4,000 fit our buy box. And we just hammer those 4,000 from every angle possible to kick up deal flow.
Nice.
All right, what kind of back end staff or resources are you using to try and stay in front of those 4,000 units that are controlled by however many owners?
Yeah, so I've helped build out the acquisition side from the beginning. So we have a full-time acquisitions manager. We have 3 acquisition analysts, 3 virtual assistants, and a lot of AI stack built in. And we're doing everything possible for those 4,000. We know every property address owner and constantly finding the right ownership validity of the data. That's the most important part.
Mm-hmm.
And we cold call, text message, email, direct mail, direct video mail. We send them gifts. All the brokers in our area call them on our behalf. We network with them. And it's constantly being at the right place, right time, because you never know when that seller is going to want to sell for whatever reason. They just got divorced, someone died, they want to retire. We want to be the first people they think about, and you just constantly have to be in front of them. So we pretty much mostly just buy deals off market for the most part. It's a lot of times a seller we've worked on for multiple years, but it's just constant volume and always being in front of them at the right place, right time.
Man,
That's discipline.
That is discipline. I would
That's
shudder
discipline.
to think, what do you think your cost per lead is?
On the acquisition side,
Yeah.
it's very tough because there's 4,000 we're constantly hammering.
Yeah, right.
And we've bought about 15, so 150 grand, probably like 10 to 20 grand per closed deal.
Okay.
Which honestly is like not that bad.
Relative for what you're buying.
Yeah.
We should be we should be spending more.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's awesome.
All right. So you guys are going to 10,000 units. What's another glass ceiling that you guys are, maybe the one currently that you're trying to bust through?
So we are huge Alex Hormozy fans. I don't know if familiar with them, but the theory of constraints, we figure out what is our constraint and we try to blast through it. That keeps evolving. It was for a minute on the capital raising side. We kind of have that figured out now. So now it's back to the acquisition side. So constantly buying enough and making sure we kick enough deal flow. And then it'll probably shift back to the leasing side, being able to lease up as fast as we turn units. But those are really our only 3 constraints now. We kind of go from the capital raising to the acquisition to the leasing and back and forth. That's kind of our flywheel. The rest is all working pretty well. We have SOPs, systems, teams, trainings in place now to scale those pretty aggressively. We have a really good team and staff. We don't need to add much headcount to grow pretty aggressively. We could probably double in size, only adding 5 people. We're very efficient with what we have now. So the big thing is those three constraints, staying in front of them, and then just constantly hiring and training our people. So we're at the people place where the right people in the bus is important. So we have about 50. So I view that as about 8 hours a day, 400 hours every day. I got to be utilizing at its max capacity efficiently. That's kind of how we view it.
Do you guys use EOS or anything like that for your business?
No. What's EOS?
So, it's like Traction. I don't know if you've ever heard of Traction. EOS is an entrepreneur operating system.
Yeah. My business partner Brandon's talked about that. No, we don't. We kind of the Alex Ramosi philosophy is probably the one we follow the most, just on the system side. But it's pretty much been all built in house, wrongly or rightly,
right?
10 years.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's because I mean, 50 people is a lot of people to manage and keep rowing in the right direction. You know what I mean? I mean, there starts to really be a lot to control at that point. But if you have the right systems, then yeah, it's not. So,
right.
All right, that's great. We've gotten to a lot of good stuff, but we are going to get into our smaller pockets. So, Justin, please tell us about a deal in real estate that has gone wrong, and then most importantly, what did you learn from it?
Yeah, so fortunately, we've not really lost money on any deals. We've navigated that landmine pretty well. The biggest thing is in our early days, we would buy everything. So we've owned triple net lease building, commercial, mixed use, industrial, storage unit, wedding venues, etc. So that wide casting snapshot of testing everything, that's been our biggest, I'll say, like kind of anchor slowing us down. It took us a minute to really go all in on value add multifamily real estate. And that is all we do now. We have blinders on everything else. If it's not a CC plus class multifamily property, 30 to 300 units in Western Ohio, I am not interested in even talking about it. So very hyper focused now, where back then we weren't. We bought a 3-story commercial building, wedding venue on top, shared workspace in the middle when WeWork concept was big, and a white box first floor. That's probably been our dumbest buy in hindsight. We've had a lot of concepts. We've spent so much brain power with potential operators going in there. We operated out of it for a minute. So that's probably been our biggest miss, just thinking we could have like a wedding venue and run it well, a shared workspace and run it well. We'd find a great like restaurant to put on the first floor, and just like all of our problems would go away. And it's just been that thing that we've never really leased up well, and we still own it. And we do have tenants, and it doesn't cost that much. So like the holding costs are nothing. We got it that's probably the biggest things. We took over a foreclosed note, so we got it for super cheap.
Is that the reason why you have decided to continue to hold it rather than sell and refocus that capital somewhere else? Or
yeah, we keep going in and out of like trying to sell it, and then we get distracted. And I'd say just the amount of time we've spent talking about it and just doing stuff with it, that lost opportunity cost is a massive number, way more than we would ever lose by selling it. So that's probably the most frustrating time, is just the time and brain power we've had in it over the last 6 or 7 years.
That's a really interesting answer, actually.
So I guess why don't you sell it? I mean, it sounds like you continue, even today, are spending brain power on it. Why don't you sell it and divert that energy?
Because of all the possibilities, Seth.
Yeah, we tried to sell it ourselves, and we've had so many deals fall through for one reason or another. And then we've had a couple of brokers who've just been horrific at selling it. And it's just been that one thing we've never committed to like real time to do. But this year it is on the chopping block, and we will sell it this year. We've got that as a commitment. We got a broker. We're giving a huge commission on it. It's basically, we're selling this no matter what. So it is coming to an end.
Okay, yeah.
But that is by far the biggest one, is we thought we would be successful in all things real estate. And maybe we could have been, but it was a poor use of our time to try to run a wedding venue. Like, right? Sounds great. 6,000 every weekend. We have no money in it. This is great. We'll pay a person, but it's just so much work. It's another business, right? You got to
Yeah.
no one's going to come in turnkey and solve your problems and a thing like that.
No, and when people don't have ownership, yeah, the thought of just, I'm going to hire an operator that's going to care for this and spend as much time on it as if they were an owner, like that doesn't really exist, even though we would all like to think it does.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're just looking at it different, have different intentions, have different, care, and it's hard to find the right people in those scenarios. But yeah, it's a focus thing, and so you guys can obviously do more and make your dollars go further, focusing on what you do best, which makes sense.
Yeah, I appreciate the answer on that one, because a lot of the smaller pocket stories we get are deals that went bad at like a condition level of the property, or we lost money, which that totally happens. But it's the opportunity cost that you highlighted on that one that I think is probably more relatable to people they don't know it.
We just did a property that we were going to flip it and then didn't, and then kept it as a rental. It just wasted a bunch of time.
Yeah.
It was like one of those properties where it was like, we didn't really lose money on it, but we definitely didn't make money on it, and we lost just a ton of time.
The worst part and the best part about real estate is that it's illiquid. So nothing happens super quick. So like halfway through that project, we were like, this is a bad idea. We never should have done this. Well, guess what? You got to lay in that bed for a few more months,
We had to finish it and learned a lot. But okay, that's great. We're going to move into our little nugget.
All right, Justin. So this is where you give our listeners something very fundamental, tried and true to you personally that has shaped the success you've been able to build.
Oh, it's tough. There's two main ones. I'd say the one is when you're first starting out as an entrepreneur and you're building, you don't understand the necessary requirement of failing and losing and taking those L's and growing from it. When I started out, if we'd have any setbacks, issues, lost money, roadblocks, like you take that way more personal, like those tough things that happen. Where now in hindsight, all of my growth and success is attributed to all of my failures, like completely linearly. And I say that with as much confidence as I can. You have to hit rock bottom. You have to have your back against the wall. You have to have no resources. You have to be down to your last dollar. You have to get kicked in the teeth and go through that process. You have to pay your ignorance debt down as fast as possible, because that part is the hard part, but you have to go through it. I've never met a business owner that's not hit rock bottom, that's not been crushed, that's not been in lawsuits, that's not had a business partner failing, right? Like everybody has their stories. And I really believe that's true. I mean, and Hormozy has a great line. If you want to make $100 million, you got to go through $100 million of pain. Like it's just the requirement. Yeah. There's no fast track. There's no way to avoid it. And I truly believe in that. So all of those bad times, the sleepless nights, the worst case scenarios now have led me to where I am and created the businesses we have. And my mindset and my skill sets have been sharpened by that. And I think that is the most valuable thing, that it is so hard to be told that in the moment that, hey, this is actually going to be one of the best things that happened to you.
Have you ever heard of Anthony Vicino? He's an operator from Minneapolis. Anyway, but he would say something similar. He would say the only difference between you and the successful person you're looking at is that they're standing on top of a bigger pile of failures.
Yeah,
and he's like, that's the only difference. When you're out there looking at all these other people doing the cool things that you want to do and having the businesses that you want to have, they've just failed more to get there. Exactly what you're saying. Ironically, he lost his whole portfolio just within this last year. But he's still out there, still trying to, rebuild his business, I guess. But again, I mean, if he really believes that, then he won't give up, because it's just stuff happens. But
you're talking to, what's his face from Aspen Funds?
Bob Frazier.
Bob Frazier.
Yeah.
Talked about his evolution of, I made a bunch of money, I lost it all.
Yeah.
I made a bunch of money, I lost it all.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Aspen Funds, but, they're syndicators, do some alternative assets as well as multifamily and stuff like that. But he was saying that he had built a tech company, internet, a .com company back before the .com crash. And it was like, man, I built this huge business. I was on the stock exchange. .com bubble happened, lost everything. Then he went in, ironically, into like stock trading, working for a big brokerage before the great financial crisis. Had made a bunch of money, built a good book business, lost everything again. And that led him into real estate. But it was just kind of like that repeated failure in honing his skills. Then he was able to transition into something where he really found a ton of success in. But it is that pain that you have to go through in order to grow.
So, Justin, did you sneak a second one in there already, or you said you had two?
No, that was one. The other is action. I've been pretty fortunate that I'm an action taker. And if you don't take action, you can't have those failures, right? So I'm just one that figures it out, right? That photo booth company, we sold a girl for $1,200 that idea. We didn't even have it built. We literally didn't even figure out the technology till the night before her wedding. We worked all night to get it to work. So like I'm someone who will sell something and then figure it out. So being willing to take the action and jump off and build it on the way down, like that action driven mentality, like I don't care about the company name, the typography, our colors. Am I going to sell something, right? I'm going to go out and sell 10 people first. And do they like it? Great. Okay. Then I'll figure out the business name and the website. Like don't get bogged down by that stuff. There's nothing, you don't need to perfect anything. Just go out and start doing stuff. Right. So like that part of the mentality feeds into the failure, right? The quicker you do stuff, the quicker you fail, you get that feedback loop and you grow. So those two things, taking action, risking it, don't worry about what other people think. Everyone else has a million other problems. They do not care what you're doing. I promise you that. And no one's going to remember in a year. And then being willing to fail and wear your losses proud, right? Like you got to own your losses. Gary Vee says that all the time. Like I'm proud of my scars, right? Like it was a necessary evil to get here.
Dude, the painful truth that you said is that nobody cares what you're doing and they're not going to remember you.
Yeah.
Dude, I have interacted with some clients before and just fumbled some stuff. And then like 6 months later, I'm back again. And they're like, hey, who are you? And I come back with like, in a different light. So yeah, people really don't care about you. You care about yourself more than they do. So that should give you some
you got to get over, that fear of failure, that fear of what other people think about you. You just got to get over it because, ultimately they don't care about you and they're not going to remember you. So
it's a good point. It's a good point.
All right. In our head.
One of the last questions before we close here has been, what's been one of the best resources in your business development?
Besides Alex Hermosi.
Yeah, sorry.
We know he's probably at the top. And I see his $100 million money models book in your background.
It's tough. You take that away.
What am I left with?
My best. I'd say just YouTube in general. I watch an hour on 1.5 to 1.75x of YouTube knowledge on a particular topic every day when I work out. I've been doing that literally since college. I can count on one hand the number of days I've missed. And just that hyper focused on constant learning on one channel, which is YouTube for me. And I just go down rabbit holes on topics and it's so good, right? Everybody's got the best content now. It doesn't matter if you're a Grant Cardone or an Alex Hormozi fan or whatever, right? You just constantly got to be learning and absorbing because you by osmosis pick so much up and you start connecting the dots almost unintentionally. And concepts start just stacking together, right? You connect the bridges, you connect the paths, and it doesn't matter like what author, what resource, podcast or whatever, but just constantly doing it every single day for years and decades just stacks together. And then the big picture concepts of just the fundamentals of business become easy, right? It's like the ABCs for you now. Hormozi's great at breaking it down into very simple concepts, but there's a lot of great people like that. I'd say the commitment to doing it as much as you can, as often as you can from any venue is more important than the what.
Yeah. No, I agree. I kind of like in my pride was like, I'm not going to listen to audiobooks because I want to read physical books and be a man. And then it was kind of like, you know what? I can read physical books and then I can also listen to audiobooks. And even if I get 10% or less, 5%, I'm going to be further along. And so kind of switched how I was doing things in the last few years. And now I just like what you said, listen to a ton of audiobooks, listen to a ton of podcasts, listen to a ton of content while I'm running, cleaning. I mean, just to like like what you said, man, if I even pick up 5 or 10% passively, it's going to continue to impact my life, my business, my marriage, my goals. And it's good
we were
for
just
you.
talking about this. You almost don't realize how much you're absorbing and picking up until you get in a conversation or a situation that draws it out of you. And then you'll say something and you'll be like, whoa, like, we're smart. You're like, but like, it sounds like an arrogant statement, but where I'm coming from is when you are a lifelong learner, you're always looking ahead at what you don't know. So sometimes it's refreshing to see something you're like, wow, actually I've come a long way, in the last 5 years.
And we interact with so many people in the space of real estate.
Yeah,
agents,
we're always the dumbest guy in the room.
Commercial brokers, investors, all over. And it is interesting. You get more of a contrast the more that you do it and you start interacting with somebody. And
like when I'm around my wife, I feel really smart about real estate.
Yeah.
Bad example.
She's like, what's going on?
Bad example.
To your Audible concept, I'd say the one thing I do that I really enjoy as well now is I listen to it on Audible, but I buy the physical book and I'll listen to it on like 1.5. I can now do 2.3x. I'm getting pretty good at it.
Wow.
But you listen to it and you follow it in the book and you can just crush a book like in 4 hours.
I gotta try that.
It's the best way to do it because you can listen faster than you can read by like 2x. And it forces you, like you can't stop it, right? Unless you hit pause. So I do that and I go through books extremely fast. And the second thing is don't be afraid to stop a book, right? For every book I get through, I probably don't finish 2 because I'm like halfway through. I either got the concept I wanted or I'm like, this is a horrible, fluffy book.
Thank you for saying that. I'm in the middle of a book right now that just regretted reading, but I feel like I had to finish.
Yeah, out of principle.
Out of principle because it was recommended to me by a friend, and I just was like, I'll read it. I felt like I gave my word, but I've hated it, but I've just been trying to eat it. It's like when you eat something that's terrible, you want to throw up. But I got the principle though of the book in the first like few chapters, and then it just felt so repetitive. And then I was like, man, what is this?
So are you a believer then in like paid coaching? Because I mean, you're doing a lot of like the Audible YouTube stuff, but what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, 100%. I have a massive education budget. I've spent 3 or 4x more on my education outside of college than I did on my college education. And the money I spent outside is 100x my college education by far.
Yeah.
So I am a huge believer. We pay a lot to coaches, mentors, etc.
Which Alex Hormozi is like super big on that too. Even just like he's, his whole one of his concepts is the more valuable you can make yourself, the more you will earn. Like you will earn to what you are valued at. Yeah. And it's just kind of like goes back to what we had been talking about earlier. Was like you are the ceiling in your business. If your business is not producing or operating at the level that you want, it's, look in the mirror, buddy. It's probably you, and you need to go out and get those skills and upgrade yourself so that way you can upgrade your business.
So for your business partner and you, and we'll end with this, but do you guys both try and be present in those same kind of mentoring coaching sessions, or do you each have your own separate strategy because your roles are different in the company?
Both. So we are both big on the Hormozi side. We go to all those workshops together. We work with his executive team now together. And then outside of that, we definitely have different interests. Like I'll do more of like the sales, marketing, capital raising, conferences and stuff. He'll do much more like operator, construction, maintenance side. He's extremely good at underwriting. So he's got some underwriting circles he runs in and does. That he'll do without me as well. So we definitely mix and match some, but also go our own way some and kind of compare.